Hello, this is Jess, and this is chat session number 162. It's Wednesday, April 11th, 2018. The weather outside is fantastic, perfect temperature, not too hot, not too cold, just a great blend. I worked today 7 to 5, and then me and Anita went out and ate a nice dinner, and it's about 11:40 p.m. Getting ready to go catch a wink or two, sleep it out, and be ready to go to work tomorrow at 7 again. So that's the agenda and plan for the moment. We're going to go right into the tidbits of history. Going to go back to 1814. Napoleon, he is exiled to Elba. Napoleon was thought as, by many historical people who study that kind of stuff, to be one of the greatest military leaders in history. His defeat in this situation came when Napoleon thought that the Russians were plotting an alliance with England, and so he invaded Russia, and they made it to Moscow, and then, boy, them Russians, they're tough. They started beating him back, but it was a heavy toll on both sides, and what changed the whole scenario and ensured a Russian victory in this assault was that most of Europe also united against Napoleon at that time. So he had all these fronts, and his army was spread thin, and they finally just, the soldiers on the battlefield just said, hell with it, we're done, and then Napoleon was exiled. Now, he did manage to escape and go back and gain back emperor status, Napoleon the First, and he was, I guess it was a short office, short term in office, as you know, whatever it's called, the government. He was exiled again after, I'm not sure exactly what the situation, probably another defeat, but Waterloo, yeah, it was another defeat. And he was exiled. I'm sorry, I don't recall the name of the island, and that's where he lived till he died at the age of 52. So that's the tidbits of history. 1814, and I don't know what everyone that might see these videos, or even if they don't see them, I don't know what everyone's opinion is of our current situation in the United States, in our states themselves, wherever you may live, all the way down to your local elected officials in the cities. Are we on the side of holding them accountable for their jobs that they're supposed to perform for the citizens? And like I said, it starts at the local level, state level, federal level. I never understood how they can break laws as congressmen or mayors or governors or even city council members, and then just resign, and that's all that's said of it. I think that if those people in those positions break the law, they should be treated like any other citizen would be when they break the law. They should be incarcerated. But they don't. And I don't see how that's I don't see how that's any kind of justice at all. They can fire, certain people from one branch of the government can fire judicial, judges and all that stuff, and if they don't like the way they're ruling on things. And I always thought that everything was separate, like, judicial, legislative, and executive, but apparently they've somehow become so intertwined that they're probably breaking laws right in front of us, and we don't even know, because we don't know the rules of the government anymore. Used to be the Justice Department, that would be, I guess, the judicial branch. Shouldn't be influenced by the legislative or the executive, and the legislative shouldn't be influenced by the executive or the judicial. But somehow they've all become so intertwined, and the checks and balances is just non-existent anymore. Used to be. There was a time when you did something and it was, judicial branch had to act on it. Boy, they didn't mess around. Now they're, I'm sure they're tough now too, but they don't do anything to anybody, because it's all about this guy is the one who appointed all these judges, like our Supreme Court. It's a joke. I think that they don't know the law of bullshit, and they should be all retired of their duties, and we should put fresh, intelligent, current thinking individuals in there who have an understanding of the current view of our country. And I also don't think it should be a life. I don't think it should be a life term once you become Supreme Court. And I also don't think that the president should appoint him. That would take care of all this bullshit about jockeying for a position to be a Republican in office so we can put judges in when we know one's going to retire and all this other junk. Think about it. They should be elected. You want to be a Supreme Court justice? Every 4 years, we're voting them in and out. And it'll give 4 years of new perspective. That's what our country is based on. The perspective of the times. Sometimes, the feeling that we have now isn't the same that we had in our country in 1920. And that's called evolution, and we should be progressing, not bickering and fighting and going nowhere and doing nothing. We should be progressing as a country to benefit humanity. But I just don't see that happening. I think it's just totally almost non-existent in most people's minds. Just stuff to think about. We as individuals have the right to pursue happiness. How many people are pursuing happiness? No, we're too busy trying to make sure we can pay our electric bill by working, by hating the job we're at, but going there because we have obligations to survive, rent, electricity, water, gas. It's insane that we've become so locked into what we need that people that have money are opening these businesses, taking advantage of that, knowing that we got to go to work, and they're trying to make as much money as they can off the backs of the workers. Now that's a corporate level of thinking, but it starts as an individual. And it's the individual that's the head of the corporation that has to ensure that corporation makes money for the shareholders and the stockholders. It's a shame that we We forego our environment. We forego our health for profit. And I can't change that personally. I can only know that it's happening. There's so many battles to pick from, to go to get involved with, to try to change things. Pick one. There's probably a million. But this country, if you really, all you hard-headed, right-wingers and all you hard-headed left, liberal-thinking people, it's time to drop all this crappy, ideological things that are in our mind and come together to, again, unite. Not unite like, hey, we're going to be buddies, but unite in the thought of how between the very extreme areas of ideologies we can find a middle ground and progress. It's not impossible, but it sure ain't happening. This is Jess. I'm getting ready to go get some rest. This is Jess, chat session number 162. I'm glad to see you at the end here if you made it all this way. Appreciate you watching. Be truthful, be happy, and let's look out for each other, okay? Just imagine what kind of world we could live in if we just drop the hate. Have a great Wednesday evening.